Ready.
Hey then, good morning, everyone. This is Ron. Sunday morning, it's already a little after 11 a.m. We'll get started and see if we have any questions. Anybody want to start us off today? Question and or comment?
Hey, Ron,
Yes, sir.
in the future, when you say good morning and add the date, like Sunday,
Okay,
December 1st, that way
okay.
it may be easier to find the videos.
You are right, and we had talked about that before, and I forgot about it. You're absolutely right. So makes all the sense in the world. Okay. Again, good morning. It's Sunday, the 1st of December. Can't believe it's December already, but here we are. So, any questions? Any questions, anyone? Comments? Okay.
I want to see if anyone have a question because I want to present something. I want to talk about something for a moment, if I may, and
Okay.
then we can shift into some other stuff. Okay.
And a question I had mentioned to you, rather hold off on that and go into what you want to
Um,
discuss.
it, it will. Both of them are the same.
Okay.
Here's your question, and it's actually a segue.
Okay. Um, Question I had, and I was wondering about something hit me, and we've talked about it in part before, and I was hoping to look at this spiritually and not politically, because we can easily kind of go in that direction with this. You have two women that have won the nomination for president in the last couple of elections. You've had Hillary Clinton and you've had Kamala Harris. You have two women that could not be more different. Uh, in the energy that they give out from race and the energy and everything else. But on the opposite end of both of them was Donald Trump. And I'm wanting to see the there's something to that I guess I'm not seeing. Uh, the energy and the worlds that they represent, they being the women, and the opposite end of that being Trump. Is there a message there that I'm not seeing, or is there something there that is worthy of a closer look?
Um, as I said, I would like to respond to everyone when everyone is here. Um, yes, there is a message in that, and the message that I see in that is this: when Hillary Clinton ran against Donald Trump, you saw the image of a man and a woman, but you saw the policies and the approach of being masculine, masculinity from Trump and masculinity from Hillary, because of her policies and her approach. When Kamala ran um, against Trump, you saw something different. You saw femininity running a race against masculinity. And the reason that is so clear to me, I'm sure to a lot of you as well, is because white women have never been allowed to be feminine. They have been under the thumb of white men from the first time they were introduced to the earth. And as we saw in this last election, they are still under the thumb of a white man. And when we talked about the return of the cosmic mother in terms of influence and power, the universe gave us a picture of what white male dominance looked like with Donald Trump and Hillary, and what it looks like with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Yet, it also showed us what African femininity looks like, and the power of that African femininity and the fear that Europeans have of African femininity. So, stepping back from this with Hillary and Kamala, with Biden being in between the two, stepping back from that, I can see a clearer picture of what the universe is saying. And that is the message that I have gleaned from what the universe is saying to us by virtue of allowing us to see these two women run against the same man. And we saw between Donald Trump and Biden, what we saw was two white men, two sides of the same coin. One is a liberal white man who white women felt okay voting for, and white men voted for Trump. What the picture is this: the energy of masculinity between Hillary and Trump, and the masculinity of European male between Trump and Biden. And both of them are in a place of domination, and both of them sought to continue the mental enslavement of anybody who does not look like them, more specifically the African. And then we saw on the end of that, the cosmic mother, without regard to ethnicity, the cosmic mother seeking to bring freedom, to bring a sense of joy to the whole of humanity, as opposed to just an African or just a European. Does that make sense?
It does.
Any questions or comments about that? Because I want to talk about the enslaved mind for just a second.
Good morning, everyone. This is GC in Philly. And Pastor, you mentioned about, the cosmic mother being back on the throne. I think that thought of cosmic mother is so powerful because it has brought us into an awareness that it has manifested in terms of her being back on the throne and how it relates to the femininity with regards to us moving forward to appreciate the spiritual message that has been brought forth. And I think that if we can, appreciate this journey in terms of what that cosmic mother means, in terms of it being put out there in the universe, it will, it will continue to give us that which we are designed for in terms of balance, harmony, and the things that we have spoke about that the universe gives us. So that cosmic mother, I was just curious as to your understanding of what it means, in the present. That's my question.
for those who, first, George, let me make this approach. For those who are maybe new, when we talk about masculine energy and feminine energy, we're talking about the energy forces that's in the universe. And those energy sources, masculine and femininity, are sources that makes everything work. For example, you have a male plug and you have a female part of the plug. And when you plug it a cord in, that is the masculine entering the feminine. And what it does, it brings light. So when we talk about that energy, masculinity and femininity, we are talking about the sources of enlightenment for humanity. And is manifested through a physical body. And that manifestation of that physical body is representative of the energy of the universe. And you say, well, what happens when it's someone who's gay? Well, that feminine energy is there, but also is masculinity there as well. And the same with a female who is gay as well. And I would get into that much deeper later on. But right now, I wanted to give that brief explanation for those who may be new to what we're talking about. Now, to George's question, would you repeat your question, George, about the cosmic mother? You asking me, what does that mean, right?
Yes, Pastor. And again, I guess, what I was saying is that, there's just a tremendous amount of respect that I have for women.
Right.
And I'm so grateful because I think that this cosmic mother is not only reaching out, but giving us an opportunity to be able to appreciate the life journey that we're on. And so when I say, what does the cosmic mother mean at this particular point in time, I think Kamala has given us the inspiration to be able to receive it from the feminine energy, but at the same time, are we connecting in a way now that we can appreciate our relationships with those who are cosmic mothers also? You know what I mean? Who are able to bring loving kindness, balance, harmony, etc., to the universe. So that was my question in terms of just your thought about the cosmic mother and what it means to us.
Thank you. My response to that is this. When we talk about Kamala and the cosmic mother, we are talking about her manifesting the energy of the cosmic mother. When we are here in our gathering, whether it is Audrey or Kathy or Barbara or whomever, when they are speaking, they are also manifestations of the cosmic mother, the energy of femininity, whether they are speaking here or in other places, or whether they are present in other places. And the reason it is so easy for them to do that is because of the mindset. The mindset of the female has to embrace its reality, meaning that is real nature and that is feminine, before the earth can do it. Why? Because the woman has the womb. I believe the manifestation of the cosmic mother through Kamala Harris was a birthing of the feminine energy being on the throne of authority, on the throne of leadership. And it may not look like that right now because of what our eyes see, but it is a reality. You say that Donald won. He did win the election, but he did not win the war. The election, the purpose of the election was to show the difference between masculinity and femininity in the earth. And you say Kamala lost, but she didn't. She accomplished her goal. Her goal was to birth a type of joy into the system that it has never experienced, and she accomplished that. And now we are in a place where we can see the difference between European mindset at its worst and African mindset with a desire to bring balance, harmony to the earth. So my thoughts on that is this: we are in the midst of the cosmic mother stepping back and allowing a picture to be painted so that everyone can see the mindset of masculinity from the mind of a European, and have a clear comparison between the two, so that when this term begins and begins to move forward, we will begin to see it's actually moving backwards, and people will have opportunity to see the difference in what joy offers as opposed to what evilness offer. And that evilness, that unrightness are the policies, not the man. They are the policies. Because if the man dies tomorrow, the policies are the same. So that's what we're looking at. George, does that help? Ron, you have a question?
That helps.
No, you spoke to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
George, and okay. Anything else, George?
No. I just appreciate, just being able to, have the respect for all of the cosmic mothers that are on the call right now, James. It's just a lot to be thankful for. And I just, meditate that, we can be the light, the energy that we are, and be able to appreciate the oneness that we all are. That's my thoughts. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Questions or comments?
You spoke to what I was thinking. You said you talked about the joy that she showed people. I think since the inception of this country, and maybe it goes back further than that actually, people were able to see themselves as having choices and being a part of something great, and being able to see themselves as being an influence in that, and being inclusive, and not that it was going to promote greed or selfishness, but this is what this will look like for everybody. And I don't think that door can be closed now. So once the lid has been taken off, and people can fully see and embrace the concept of what that looks like, I think that is going to be the goal that will be, people will see that as achievable from here on out. So when you say when the administration takes off, it's gonna move backwards, I agree with that. I don't think people are going to ever go back to the mindset that this is how it is and there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
It renewed hope in a way that never been renewed before.
I agree 100%.
Good morning.
Go ahead. Good morning.
Having heard what you talked about, I just wanted to add that with Kamala, she may not even understand the depth of what was accomplished and what was purposed in the universe by virtue of her action. And that's the key thing. That's why it takes someone understanding the forces behind that, the universal forces behind that, to rightly interpret it. Otherwise, you would have people continuously feeling morose and sad and disappointed, and that's what the universe would be receiving, instead of the positivity that, oh, we are in line with the universe. She accomplished what she was purposed to accomplish, and now people, as you say, feel that joy, feel something. They may not even might not even be able to identify exactly what it is, but they understand that something significant changed. And so, even though Kamala was not aware of it necessarily, the universe does what the universe does, and
Right.
that's to do whatever is necessary to provide for humanity what it needs to be who they truly are.
Thank you. I want to point out something else, Barbara, since it came to mind while you were talking. It was also the femininity that brought us to a place of unicity in embracing the results of the election and seeing it for what it was. When Kathy started talking to us about Nehemiah, it helped us to begin to see. I know it helped me anyway to see the purpose of the election. And here we are now, making an effort to pull all of that together, and understanding, as you said, Bob, that we are what? We are in a space of embracing what Kamala did, even though she doesn't know what she did. That's all. The other, are there any questions before I go into this mindset thing?
This is Cheryl. I'm moving about taking care of my daughter, so I apologize. One of the things that keeps coming to me is that oftentimes when we have trials and we're deeply affected by things, that sometimes when we ask for things and God says no, many times what happens is because it's like a crucible, because of the negative things that we know are coming, that facilitates coalitions that never before would have been considered. And to my way of thinking, that creates the opportunity for that feminine energy to come in and for people to accept it and embrace it and understand it for what it is. I was impressed by I can't remember her name, from Mexico, her response to Trump's foolishness about tariffs. And again, it was that feminine energy, unlike any European energy that we've seen or heard in the past. So, I just feel like it's a bad time, but it's a good time for this to be happening. So I don't know what opportunities will present themselves, but I believe the Creator knew exactly. Well, I know the Creator knew exactly what was going to happen and created this opportunity for us. We didn't see it as an opportunity at the time. So I thank you for your clarification, and I appreciate your clarity and your instruction. So thank you. That's it.
I want to mention, address rather, when God says no. The church has taught us that we are supposed to expect all positive things that we call positive from our Creator. That when Donald Trump was first elected in 2016, my words were, that's the best thing that ever happened to Black folks. And that, though on the surface it appeared to be negative, it was a positive thing. And I want to say this to us. It's not so much that our Creator says no to us, as it is we are not clear on the message that is in the response, or the I'm sorry, not response, that's just a poor choice of words. We are not clear-eyed on what the Creator is presenting to us. And that is the reason the scripture says that we must be able to read the signs of the times. With this, and Kamala and Donald, it was not so much of us asking God and God saying no, as much as it was us not realizing what the universe is saying, period. And the clarity came when we were introduced by Catherine to Nehemiah and the joy and those aspects of the priesthood that helped us to jail in our thinking. That helped us to be on the same page. So right now, there are any number of people worldwide who feels like Donald winning was a negative thing, when in essence, it was very positive. So Chair, in response, that's my response, in that we must be able to read the signs of the times. And I know I was walking around saying, I missed it. And I was being told primarily, not primarily, but totally, by the females, that you didn't miss it. This is the way it's supposed to be. So what was happening? My masculinity says to me, in earthly terms, I'm supposed to be able to fix everything. This I couldn't fix. And femininity is saying to me, it was never intended for you to fix, because nothing was broken. It happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. And the birthing of that pulled my thoughts, my back into sync with my spirituality, and helped me to become spiritually whole again, if that makes any sense.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. The mind, in order for us to be able to be in a good place, we talk about being in a good place. We were not in a good place after the night of the election and the morning after the election. We were not in a good place. So what does it look like to be in a good place? The good space, our minds cannot be in a good space unless some variables are met. The reason we are not in a good place is because our mind has been inundated with European thought. we go into institutions of higher learning, and it is simply a method, a more advanced method of teaching us how to be European in our thoughts. Those who do not go to institutions of higher learning have been taught how to be a European from day one, whether they enter school or not. We began to be indoctrinated into this mindset of the European more in during the period since 1954. Prior to integration, our interaction with Europeans was one way. Our interaction with each other was another way. We had more respect for the elderly, our parents, each other. 1954 was a seed that actually started the destruction of the African communities in America. And I'm not talking about in the 20s when Tulsa, the Greenwood district was burned down in Tulsa. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about even after that. We had communities, and our communities were usually centered around biological relationships, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. In 1954, when that seed was planted for integration, it began to produce something. And what it produced was a movement from our schools, African schools, to white schools. It also was the seed that brought a lack of a desire of excellence into our communities. Before integration, if you look at the annals of history in this country, you will see that without regard to what segment of the society we were in, science, biology, physiology, it doesn't matter where we were always at the top of our game. We were always the best. When we were bused to white schools, because white kids did not come to our school, we were bused to white schools. That was when a greater opportunity was given to Europeans to mold the way we think. And that is when we started seeing ourselves as separate from those in our communities who were less fortunate than we were in terms of materialism. That is when the European began to allow a handful of people to be inserted into their way of life, and it made those who were not there, it made them desire to be there. And it's like the carrot keeps the horse moving, but the horse never gets the carrot. That's what integration did to us. And it solidified the control that European had over our mind. And what we began to see, some of us anyway, is that our minds were enslaved and being tightly controlled. And that one segment of the civil rights movement pushed very hard for us to be in tune with white way of thinking, the European way of thinking. Another segment begun to organize our school. Worcester Docky has a school in Greensboro. Runker has schools on the West Coast. So there were those of us who were trying to teach our children who we are, as opposed to allowing them to be further indoctrinated. Those schools were destroyed, and they were not destroyed by white people. They were destroyed by Black folks who thought that the European way was the only way, the best way. So when we realized that we were not in a good space, our mindset was not in a good space, it wasn't until recently the Creator allowed us to travel this journey that we were on. And in traveling this journey, we were shown how deeply our minds had been influenced by European thought. And as a result of that, that our thoughts became different than what they were. What I mean by that is this: European children do not respect their parents. That's a fact. We see it all the time. Our kids moved in that same direction. And the difference in it is this: you do not hear it publicly stated how disrespectful white kids are to their parents, but it's always played up when it's the African in relationship to the parent in order to create a division. And that's what keeps us in a bad space. Questions yet? I'm sorry. Are there any questions so far? Am I being clear? Come on, guys.
It's
Very
clear.
clear.
Okay. So now we have been shown that we are in a bad space. So on this journey, when we recognize that, we spoke about that, but how do we stay in this good space? How do we mortify the thoughts that flows through our mind? Please understand that regardless of the condition forced upon the African has always survived. The indoctrination that has been imposed on us, we have the power to rise above it. There will never be harmony in this earth as long as Europeans are in control. Never. Yesterday, there was a fight on the football field between Michigan and Ohio State. The reason is because after Michigan beat Ohio State in Ohio, they planted a flag in the center of the field, and the players were not going to have that. The flag indicated that this is our field. We have taken your home. When America went to the moon, what was the first thing they did? They
Planted that flag.
They planted a flag. That flag says, we own this, and we will kill you if you try to take it. And that is what America has done. That is what Britain has done. That is what Germany has done. That is what France has done all over the world. All over the world. Germany exterminated hundreds of thousands of people in Namibia in 1907. Germany exterminated 6 million Jews before World War II, or during the course of World War II and before. Germany finally admitted that the genocide that they committed there in Namibia, and now they are paying $1.5 billion to Namibia for over a course of 30 years. To the Jews, they are paying $1.5 million in restitution to the Jews per year. What does that say? We're giving you pennies so it would look like we are compensating for what we did, but we really are making an effort to compensate what happened to the Jews, because you don't matter that much. European mindset. There are people who believe that this $1.5 billion over 30 years is okay when that's pennies, when you do the math. European mindset. This is how you change it. This is how you bring your mind to a state of a Babylonian thought. As long as our minds are religious, as long as we deny that we are gods, we will never have harmony. We will never bring our mindset to a Babylonian place. Because we've been told by Christianity, Islam, and Judaism that we cannot be God. Yet, prior to that, we understood as Africans that we are God. Because if we were not, we could not be the image, the representation of God. We were taught from the Kemetic priesthood how to respond, how to function as God in the earth. Christianity says you go into hell if you say you God. I'm willing to take that chance because I know who I am. When I recognize who I am, when I embrace the reality of my existence, when I embrace the fact that the earth could not function without our presence, and there are no people existing on this earth ever that did not come from our gene pool. When I embrace that, when I embrace the reality that the original Native Americans were Africans 20,000 years before the people who are called Native American crossed the Bering Strait into this landmass. We are the original people all over the earth. When we embrace that, when we embrace that, then we be able to embrace the reality of us being spiritual beings. We talk about being spiritual beings, but what does that mean? The things that I just talked about that we must embrace, that's what it means. And more. So, my soul, my spirit, me, the I am that I am, must clear the European mindset from my thoughts. When my mind is in sync with me, the spiritual me, it is then that I become who I was created to be. It is then that we are able to function in this earth as Elohim. The mindset that has been embedded in us, the Creator allowed it to happen. Because in order for us to become who we were created to be, we cannot do that when we abandon the mindset that we were created with in favor of a mindset that enslaves us. Mental enslavement is far more harsh than physical enslavement. Because now I don't need to watch you, because you are going to do what I want you to do because you think the way I told you to think. And just in case you get out of line, there are policemen to take care of you. There are prisons to hold you. Prisons keep you there. So you are now in prison, which is really a plantation lockup, until you capitulate. When we began to understand who we are spiritually and began to think that way, and every time that a thought comes up contrary to that, we denounce it. That begins to clear our mind, and that moves us closer to being who we were created to be, which is Elohim. And that is when we see with a greater clarity with the eye instead of the eyes. Because the eyes keeps us in bondage. The eyes want a nice car, and the eyes want everything that white people had. The Cadillac. The Cadillac company would not sell Cadillacs to black folk. Black folk were getting white men to buy cars for them, Cadillacs, and paying them $300 over the price of the car for them to buy the car for them. During the Depression, Cadillac was going out of business because white men didn't have any money. So a sales rep goes into the board meeting when they're discussing filing for bankruptcy and says to them that there is a way to save this company. If you sell to black men, you will save this company. Of course, some more conversation than that, but that's what the gist of it was. And Cadillac, the executives said, okay, let's try that. And they were able to they started selling to black men. And back then, there were no car loans. You had to pay cash. Otherwise, you didn't get the car. So how is it that black men was able to save Cadillac by paying cash for a car? Because black folk were not allowed to put money in the bank, and their money was at home. And that is another reason that black people did not suffer as much as white folk did when the banks went broke. Why do I tell you that story? Because our mindset shifts when we understand who we are. The physical shift came through boycotts. That didn't change our mindset. That influenced our mindset to be like white people. to be like the European. But when we look at the spiritual nature of who we are, and we begin to think like that, and we begin to reach out to others in that manner, when these thoughts of spirituality begin to manifest, it manifests in a manner that allows us to become a community with everyone. It changes the mindset of all who are in this earth. And we are supposed to influence rather than being influenced. Our influence must be for spirituality. Our influence must be for the balance, for the salvation of humanity, for the deliverance of humanity from a European mindset. And you cannot do that if you don't know how to function as Elohim. And the functionality of Elohim comes when we renew our mind. Renewing of our mind is bringing our mind in sync with the spirituality or the spiritual nature of our being. That is what puts us in a good space. Regardless of what happens, we're able to handle it when we are in a good space. And most of the time, what takes us out of a good space are material things. A bill, a murder, all religion, be it Christianity, Islam, or whatever. All of that takes us out of a good space. But when we know who we are, when we realize this is simply a vehicle, this body is a vehicle, and the eyes keeps us in bondage. When we recognize that, we are able to renew our minds. But not until then will we be able to function on a daily basis the way we were brought to this earth to function. And that is Elohim. Questions or comments? And I know I said a lot. Well, let me ask this question. Out of all that has been said, does it make sense to you? Can you see it with the clarity? Do I need to clarify more, or do you see it differently? All of that, please respond.
It resonates.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Okay. Thank you. One more addendum to that. The scripture says that Peter was given the keys to the kingdom. The scripture says that Peter was given the keys to the kingdom. What's actually being said there? Peter, the rock, not just a rock that's stable. When you become, what is it? When Jesus said to Peter, strengthen thy brother, basically what he was saying was, when you see, hey George, would you quote that for me, please? It's not coming to me.
Again, Pastor, can you repeat that?
Peter, when Jesus says to Peter, when you are, that's it, I got it. When you are converted, strengthen your brothers. That's what it was. What is he saying? When you recognize stability, you are able to strengthen those around you. When he says about the keys to the kingdom, what is he saying? He's saying, African, when you are stable, you will realize that you are the key to enlightenment. When you know who you are the key to enlightenment. So even though it's attributed to Peter Petro, which is actually presented as a European, this was not referencing a person at all. It's talking about a principle. It's talking about a principle. And that principle says, when you are stable, the priest is to help you become stable. So when you are converted, when you embrace the stability of your nature, you will be the strengthening force for all of those who are in this earth. Does that make sense? Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, Ron. If
Is
there are questions or comments,
question,
yes,
is stability a mindset change?
yes,
Okay.
thank you. Yes, ma'am. It definitely is a mindset change. And all of that is connected to what we talked about yesterday in reference to the priesthood. Religion keeps us unstable. However, spirituality shows us that the instability is only in our minds. It's not in our essence at all. And Europeans know that. If they did not know that we are God in this earth, why would they hide our history? Every time there was an African community, like such as Greenwood or the district in Florida or Durham, North Carolina, and several other places around the country, every time they would destroy it. Why? Because when the shackles were removed, we were given nothing. I mean, literally nothing. In 1877, when Reconstruction came to a halt, which really didn't make any efforts toward prosperity at all. In 1877, everything that we thought we had was taken away. And from 1877 to the early 1900s, we were able to build prosperous communities where we could take care of our children, where we could take care of our families. They were burned because they knew we were excelling beyond what they could do. And the Creator allowed this to happen. Because the Creator did not want us to think that our deliverance came by us being subjugated by Europeans. Our Creator wanted us to understand that our strength, our stability came from our ancestors and not from Europe. And that continued until there were those who rose up and said, send me, I'll take the journey. Regardless of what it costs, I'll take the journey that leads to a clear understanding of who we are. Right?
Just a question while you're talking, and Audrey talked about mindset change, and we've talked about that. Just to remind us what that mindset is that understanding that we don't let our mind guide our thoughts, or and another way of saying it is letting our eyes.
Barbara,
Yes.
yes, the
Yes,
background noise.
Yes, sir. Still got it?
Okay, go ahead. Let's start.
Okay. That mindset change is understanding who we are as spiritual beings, and that we see with the eye, not with the eyes. That's the change. That's the switch, in a sense, that reminds us. That's the mindset change itself. It's understanding and knowing that. Is there more to that? Because when we say a mindset change, and we talked about the mind being those things that we see with the physical eyes, and not letting that direct us and rule over us. Can you just for clarity remind us about that? What a mindset change is.
Okay, I'll do my best. I solicit assistance. Mindset change. Right now, our mindset, and I'm not talking about us necessarily here, but I'm talking about as a group, as a people. Our mindset is one that is focused on making money, having a big house, having 2 or 3 cars that we don't need. I'm guilty too. Our mindset is focused on what we can obtain, what our families can obtain, what we can leave to our children so they can follow in our footsteps of materialism. The source that undergirds this mindset is Christianity. The Christianity that all of us have been introduced to, and that Christianity that we've been introduced to is that God is going to take care of you. And the more you have, the more blessed you are. And the Europeans took it a step further with the name it and claim it ministry. All of these beliefs are based upon our eyes, are based upon a material world that we can see with our eyes. The mindset of spirituality is based on what we are shown with our eye, meaning that when we look at the scriptures and we see that the keys to the kingdom is not talking about a kingdom that Jesus has established in the heavens, and we are going to heaven, and Peter will be at the gate with the key. That's not that at all. That's a Christian European mindset. Christianity is definitely a European mindset. Islam is a European mindset. Judaism is a European mindset. Neither one of those have anything to do with spirituality. When we see with the eye, what we see is a space in the earth where people are able to not only prosper, but to be a source of strength so that others can do the same thing. When I'm talking about prosperity, I'm talking about knowing who you are, I'm talking about being your brother's keeper. I'm talking about feeding the hungry. I'm talking about doing all of those things that are necessary for survival. And when that happens, we will get to a place where because of our thinking, we will be able to, all of humanity will be taken care of, meaning no one will be hungry. No one would be homeless or without a home. No one would be there. No one would be manipulated by a system for the benefit of a handful of people. No one would be there. If we look at where this spiritual mindset takes us, we must look at the Kushite kingdom. Because the Kushite kingdom, the mindset that came out of the Kushite kingdom was a mindset that embraced all of humanity for the express purpose of bringing humanity to a space of spirituality, a space where all of humanity are able to have a Kabbalion mindset. Does that help, Barbara?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anyone else want to comment on that?
Yeah, Pastor, I'd just like to add to that, that when
Thank
we
you.
talk about the mindset, looking at it from a psychological perspective, in the Kushite Kemetic teachings, it talked about the importance of psychology. And psychology is Sakulogy, but it talks about the study of the heart soul. We know about the mind in terms of our perceptions, our receptions, and concept of things, but there was that fourth aspect of the four stages of the mind that talks about intuitive instinct. And I think that what I'm hearing is that when we talk about how sometimes the mind might war with the body, might war with the soul, but I think one aspect of the mind that I want to have a better understanding is the psychology, which again is the heart soul. And I think that that's a very important principle, to understand, when we talk about looking at it from our eyes or looking at it from our eye. And I think that is not about the mind so more so than about the heart. So I just wanted to share those thoughts, in reference to, doing that little comparative analysis when we talk about the mind versus the heart in that sense. I don't know if that resonates at all, but I'm trying to refer more about our hearts and our souls versus our minds and our thoughts from a I guess academia perspective.
Thank you.
I'm done.
The heart, the soul are synonymous. That's interchangeable. When we talk about our heart, talk about our soul, we talk about our spirituality, we talk about breath. We're talking about the same thing. We're talking about the depth of of compassion, the depth of desire for the right purposes. I received a text. The success in the physical and material world consists of being anti-Black. I agree with that.
We also talked about the intuitive sense, the eighth sense with ST,
Yes.
and how we should rely on that more than just our minds.
Right.
So just to add to what George was saying.
Thank you. An example of how physical and material world consists of being anti-Black. I listened at a discussion on a video about hip hop and the success of hip hop is based upon being anti-Black, because the success of hip hop if you're going to be successful, your lyrics must denigrate Black women. Your lyrics must talk about Black men killing each other. Your lyrics must talk about selling dope. Everything that's negative, that sells, because that's really pretty much the only alternative you have when you are looking for music, for hip hop music. The ones that deal with positivity are not produced, and if they are, they're not pushed in terms of being played on different stations, whether it's on social media or whether it is on a radio or TV. So hip hop, for the most part, is anti-Black. And we can see the movement towards that from the songs of the 50s, 60s, the go-go music morphing into hip hop. The beginning of hip hop was extremely positive, as long as the CDs were being sold out of a car or on a street corner. But when they begun to be mass produced, the lyrics changed dramatically. And every one of those lyrics that it changed to were extremely negative and violent. So I do agree that those lyrics are anti-Black, presented to us by Black people. Our people embrace music more than anyone else on this earth. And we are influenced by music more than anyone else on this earth. That is the reason we must be very careful how we consume music. I'm going to say something. I'm not saying it to take anything away from you. If you enjoy it, that's fine. Do what you do. Gospel music, to me, is like stretching my nails on a board. And the reason is because it never talks about how much we love each other. It's all about how much we love Jesus. Because he first loved me. It doesn't talk about interactions with us in the earth in a manner that it talks about the deities that have been invented by Christianity. I remember being in Haiti, and Pastor Michelle was the one who hosted me in Haiti. And I've gone to Haiti several times. And every single gathering I went to, whether it was in the church or whether it was on a compound, they did not play gospel music. Neither would they sing it. And it was told to me they didn't do it because the music did not resonate with their soul. And that helped me to understand why gospel music did not resonate with me. I feel the beat, but the words, the lyrics. And some of you remember me saying, why is it that the songs that we sing in church, none of them talks about when a man loves a woman, talks about how we love each other. None of them does that. It always talks about something that we cannot see, something that cannot be experienced until we get to heaven, till we leave this earth. That did not resonate with me. And I simply believe that the songs that were rendered that came out of slavery resonates more. The hymns that were common meter, when you no music, it's just you and the tones of the song. It is right now we don't even do that anymore. There was a reason that a number of churches did not want carpet on the floor because of the beat that they raised hymns with. And the message in the hymns were a bit different than gospel music. But now we sing anthems, and our gospel music is based on anthems from Scotland or from Ireland or from the Southern Baptist churches. We have moved so far away from our culture. We tried to fit our culture into the surroundings that we lived in, but it did not, it has not worked out for us, and it will not work out for us because it doesn't speak to the reality of our heart. It doesn't speak to the essence of our being, our origin. It doesn't. And we have a total, oh God, we have a total misunderstanding of what strength is, especially masculinity. It's not masculine to put your hands on your woman. It's masculine when you stop someone from doing that, when you step in to prevent that. Masculinity says you are not going to approach her like that. Masculinity is not violent. Masculinity is protective. Masculinity does not denigrate, especially the female. Masculinity doesn't do that. Masculinity exalts the female. Masculinity exalts the female to the extent that if there are lyrics that denigrate females, you do your best to keep them out of the public square. You don't want them to contaminate the minds, the hearts of the people around us. So all of these things that we have spoken of today are intertwined. And I do believe that the reason we are seeing things the way we are is because the priesthood must be solidified. And the solidification of the priesthood is when we begin to sync our minds with our essence, or with our soul, with our spiritual essence. That's when we begin to sync the priesthood. That's when we are able to see deeper into the abyss of spirituality and pull from that wisdom and understanding that benefits humanity. I'm done. Questions, comments?
Can I read something to you and go into it a little bit? I want to read a couple of verses from Genesis 27. Now it came about when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim to see, that he called his older son Esau and said to him, "My son," and he said, "Here I am." And it goes, verse 2 goes, and he does a blessing to it. And I'm gonna go to the bottom of this chapter and read the last verse, and then I'm going to try to talk about it a little bit. Rebekah says to Isaac, I am tired of living because of the daughters of Heath. If Jacob takes a wife from the daughters of Heath, like these from the daughters of the land, what good is my life to me? Now, a lot takes place in between those verses, and I'll go into them for a minute. But I want to go back to the first one. It talks about, it says Isaac, and Isaac were old and his eyes were dim, were dimming to see. The word dim, it does talk about growing old, but it also talks about to come into being. It talks about to begin to see wisdom, your experiences, and to be accompanied with wisdom. So this is saying, in a spiritual sense, when you reach the point of experiences in life that your physical eyes no longer give you the reality that your heart and your spirit is showing you. So his experiences were starting to outweigh what he see. And in this example, you see the masculine and the feminine together on this, because Esau and Jacob are just the methods of what's going to take place here. So if you hold on to that part of it and go down to the last verse where she talks about the daughters of Heath, Heath talks about the land of Canaan, a place in Canaan, but it also talks about an ancient people. It talks about the Hittites and who had advanced cultures and whatnot, but it goes on to say, let me find it, y'all. It means, the root comes back to means when you break down something either by violence, confusion, or fear. So what am I saying here? In between all of this, you see a lot of stuff going on. The chaos ensues, and it looks like there's a battle between Isaac and Rebekah. But when his eyes are dim, and she says to him, "What good is my life to me?" It is not saying that I physically want to die. She is giving him something here to take a look at, and now I can't pull up what I want to see. So he comes back and he gives a different type of blessing. Because if you think about it, every time something happened, there's deception, and he blesses Jacob. Then he comes back and he blesses Esau. And then when Rebekah confronts him, when Rebekah comes back to him, he calls Jacob again and bless him and charge him, saying, "You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan," and tells him to go to Padam Aram, to the house of Bethel, and to your mother's father, and from there take yourself a wife from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And may God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply, that you may become a company of people. May he also give you the blessings of Abraham, and to you the descendants, and goes on and on. In other words, I'm looking at this as a change of a mindset. The mindset originally said, this is what's lawful, this is what masculinity is used to doing. But when his eyes, because of his relationship with his wife, he sees balance, and he starts to see it from a different perspective. And she really takes control of things and causes him to see what he could not see originally. So he stops seeing with his eyes and he starts seeing with his eye. And the eye is what represented the true blessing. And the descendants and taking a wife, all of that has to do with being balanced in your mindset. So without going into it, all the details of it. But I just thought that was kind of pointed out to what we had been talking about.
Thank you. Any questions about that? Comments? Do you see more into that?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Based on what you read, Ron, you did mention about confusion, and I didn't hear you say chaos, but I heard the word confusion. Just one of the things I want people to know is confusion and/or chaos. Whenever I see it, the one thing that I admire about confusion and chaos is it always gives birth to an individual that shows you a better part of themselves. And that can be male or female. It always gives birth to someone that I may have overlooked. It always gives birth to someone who I may have underestimated. So I view chaos as there's some good in it. And what you read when Rebecca challenged or gave her experiences to her husband or to whomever she was talking to, there's chaos in there. And at the end of it, it shows you a better version of someone. So that's all I want to say about chaos and confusion. There are some good things.
Can I add something to it? Can I add something to it, George? Because you bring out something that I meant to say that I didn't say. The chaos and confusion ensued when they were not on the same page. And when they became on the same page is when you saw the true blessing. That's all I want to add. Thank you, though.
Well, I mean, we kind of like saying the same thing, just saying it different. So that's all I had to say, though. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank both of you. Chaos and confusion are the same thing. So I don't want anyone to think that our chaos is different than confusion. Because all of us know what confusion is. Some of us may not understand that chaos is the same thing. That's all I want to say. All right.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Let's take a pause here then. And mindsets. Where are we? Where are we?
I think that is a question that all of us must ponder. Where are we with this mindset? And all of us know where we are in terms of what our focus is. So when you realize the mindset, what are you going to do to bring your mindset into balance with who you are spiritually? So you will only focus on that which is spiritual, as opposed to those thoughts of embracing materialism and calling it a blessing from God. When in essence, that's your focus, as opposed to something that came to you without you actually searching for it. Because if we really think about it, the main thing, the priority is truth. When we search for and embrace truth, the universe will do the rest. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks, everyone. Appreciate your energy. And look forward to tomorrow evening at 6. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
No meeting with California today?
Yes. Yes, there's a
Thank
meeting
you.
on California
Thank
too.
you.
Is it yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yes. Okay.
fine.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Yeah.
Your family.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.